Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to make a quick follow-up video kind of on my first kind of mini review of the T-Rex. So I'm kind of going to do this in phases. Today what I wanted to cover was the weightlifting aspect of it, and then just kind of do a menu walkthrough, show you kind of all the various settings and kind of some of the shortcomings I have found here. So first, jumping right into the weightlifting. So the weightlifting, the strength training option on this watch was, I'd say mediocre at best. I mean, it's really kind of the same type of function and setup as the Garmin. It just basically it tries to count reps. You can do the, you can manually count your sets right here every time you finish a set, and it tries to count your reps. You've got your display window here, and then you can obviously have more windows by, scrolling down. You can have multiple different data sets set up. But in terms of accuracy, I wore it while I wore my Phoenix 7, and I found that I kind of struggled, I would say. I mean, that's the assumption is that the Phoenix 7 is more accurate. This one wasn't always on par with it. I'll try and put the two pictures up here of the two graphs to compare. But yeah, weightlifting is always a challenging aspect anyway, but it was okay, I guess. I mean, I don't even know if the Garmin was accurate either, but I was hoping they would be kind of in sync, and they often were, but then during, right when you finish a set, when your heart rate is at its highest, I kind of found that this was kind of trailing the Garmin sometimes. It also tries to do the muscle detection just like the Garmin does, but it failed miserably. I mean, these were all basically, I think the first 6 were bench press, then it was a military press. It did get the tricep pushed on right, but yeah, it's, again, just like with Garmin, it's a kind of a useless feature. I think the watch that does it the best is the Coros strength training. The Coros kind of lets you select your muscle group. So rather than try to get so granular and identify the specific workout you're doing, which so far most of these devices can't do, this one just has you select kind of the muscle group, which I find way more beneficial, because I'd rather just see kind of, am I working, the biceps, the triceps, the chest, to kind of collect that data versus trying to get that specific where you're going to try to capture the exercises, and you just can't be done. So overall, not impressed with the weightlifting. I was hoping there'd be something new, kind of better. Weightlifting isn't kind of really a focal point for a lot of these watch companies, and these are GPS running watches. Running is a big part, cycling, GPS, and I know that, but I still like these watches. But kind of hope that they would kind of innovate a little bit on the strength training function. But that was pretty much it with the strength training. There really wasn't anything to wow me. It really felt like the Garmin experience. It kind of works the same way. You just not a whole lot more. I'm trying to think if there's anything more, but yeah, so nothing impressive. If you like the Garmin strength training, then this will kind of feel at home. If you don't like it, then you probably won't like this one either. Again, for strength training, the Coros is still my favorite. Now, as far as the menu of the watch, let's jump into that and check that out. Okay. All right. So here we are, kind of at the main screen, and these are kind of, again, a little similar to Garmin, but it's much less cluttered than Garmin is, which, I don't know, good or bad, but I kind of have grown to appreciate Garmin's layout. But if we jump into the menu settings, you first have the kind of the app functions. You can set your goals, you can add accounts. The only accounts that it looks like you can sync up with are WeChat, Google Fit, Strava, and Relieve. I haven't heard of these so far. So I did sync mine up with Strava, but it didn't So for some reason, Strava, I don't know if it's a limitation of Strava, but it brought over my Phoenix data like within a couple minutes, but the data from the T-Rex still is not there. So I don't know if that's maybe the Strava detecting that it's like the same activity and stopping it, but I don't know, it is what it is. So now if you jump into the watch, so you first begin with your health monitoring settings. So one thing I've noticed here is automatic heart rate detection. You actually have to specify the frequency. With Garmin, it kind of has that, your options like for smart, where Garmin kind of decides when to do it, and I don't know how frequent that is, but here you got to specify the frequency. Obviously, the higher the frequency, you get a warning that your battery life is going to suffer. So I was up to 10 minutes. You also have your alerts for high and low rate, similar to Garmin, and then you have activity heart rate monitoring. That just means it's going to be on, duration throughout the activity. Then you have sleep monitoring, and then you have something called breathe quality monitoring. I think this is kind of similar to what Garmin does already as well, but again, if you turn it on, your battery is going to be impacted. Seems like everything you turn on, it's going to impact the battery. Your stress monitor, stress relief reminder, and then your O2 monitor as well. But again, turn it on, you're going to get the warning that it's going to impact your battery. So that's it from the health side. Notifications and reminders, needs an explanation. You just basically pick and choose if you want to be notified for calls and etc. So I actually haven't set this up yet, but it's just there. You basically have to allow the app to to allow it in the background. I didn't turn it on because I have multiple watches and I didn't want all my watches constantly going off. That's pretty much it for notifications. These are for your internal apps if you want those to alert you. But okay, moving on. Watch faces. Okay, so you have a kind of a good amount of watch faces to kind of go through here. You can kind of see all different types you got here. And then you can kind of pick and choose which ones are yours. You go into the mine section, so these are the current ones that are on the watch, and you can actually delete some of these if you don't want them on your watch, and then you can also make some of them favorites. And then to change, I forgot I was still working out. Finish. Okay. So if we go into settings, so here you can now pick your watch faces that you want to use. And what I don't see is a way to customize the watch face. So you can do, the date, how you want the date to display, and the time, but otherwise you don't get a whole lot more selection on some of these. So on the stock one, so here's like the stock one, this one you get a little bit more to pick and choose from. So now you can select the background. And this obviously is to match whichever color pathway you got this with. That's about it. So you don't get a whole lot of customization with the watch faces like you do with the Garmin. Okay, moving on. So then you got the App Store. And again, the App Store, a little limited, I would say. Not a whole lot to choose from. This is kind of it. So these are all the apps you have here. So it's by no means like a large selection. That's pretty much it. So not a whole lot of apps to pick and choose from compared to like your Garmin. And then you've got watch settings. So these are kind of going to be the similar settings that you have on the watch itself. You can control this display, you know, always on, lift to view. If you want the screen to wake up when you get the watch or notification. So nothing really big there. The one thing I did like is you can control the intensity. So I've always had this issue with Garmin. The Phoenix seems okay, but my Instinct 2 vibrated way too loud, and there's no way to control that. You can obviously control when you want the alerts to go off. Do not disturb. You can set the time, or I put on smart. I'm hoping it'll kind of figure out when I go to bed. If you want a password, quick startup, edit control center, these are going to be just kind of what your options are when you go to the watch right here. So this is your control center. This is kind of what you want to see there. And language. So this one has come up in my videos before. Here are all different supported languages. I think that's it. And then it has follow the phone's language, so I don't know if that means it'll expand it to more languages. But that is pretty much it. Here you can manage the apps. So your apps are going to be, right here. If you swipe up, these are going to be all the various apps you have installed on the watch. So, if you want to work out, you go into your workout, pick your workout. So let's take a look to see what workouts it does support. So we have outdoor running, walking, track run, outdoor cycle, pool, open water swim, climbing, hiking, strength training, row machine, triathlon, multi-sport, golf, snowboarding, skiing, jump roping, stairs, more. Over here, I guess you can go in there and get more workouts. Oh wow, there's actually a good amount of workouts to choose from. I'm not going to go through all those, but if there's one that you guys are looking for specifically, let me know and I'll definitely check for you. So that's these are basically your apps that you can, work through. Same thing if you want to look at, your heart rate. You can look here. I'm not wearing it right now. Workout status. So if you want to review kind of your training load, you can kind of do that all here, but you get the idea. Weather. Okay, so that's the apps, and then you have the shortcut cards. So the shortcut cards are basically kind of like your glances in from Garmin. You can kind of see the weather, your last workout status, sleep, heart rate, activity. So these are kind of like your glances that you would have in your Garmin. So over here you can control which ones you want to see. So that's how that works. And then you have your app settings where you can kind of customize the weather, obviously, like what city you want to add alarms, your calendar, etc. And then these are just some of the more kind of system options in terms of if you want to watch on the background, lab. This is where you can control your camera, but if you want to share your heart rate, if you want the watch to be discoverable, but again, reduces battery life. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There was an update when I first turned it on, so I am on 9.19.11.1. So that is really it for kind of the walkthrough of all the settings. think of anything else to kind of cover here. If there's anything I missed, let me know and I'll try and answer it. But, so far overall, obviously I still got to test the GPS, and the navigation hasn't been released yet for this watch, so I can't test the navigation. But as far as the watch itself so far, it's not a bad watch. It just depends what you're looking for. I think for the budget of $200, this was $230, and Amazon actually had a $20 coupon, so it was $210 before tax and stuff. But for $230 or so, I think it's a great watch. I mean, it kind of falls right in line with this watch, is in that $200 range as well. So this would be, I think, a good competitor. Occasionally the Garmin Vivo Active 4 will be on sale for $200 every now and then. So at that price point, I think that's like the best dollar for dollar watch you could probably get. But if we're just looking at MSRP, I can't think of a better watch than this one. Now, that's if you're on a budget and you're trying to kind of just stay there. But if you're really not on a budget and you want the best watch you can get, I mean, I still think the Phoenix takes the crown. I probably won't keep this watch for too long, just because it will never replace the Phoenix. I think a Phoenix is just a much better watch, but it is a nice watch to try, especially if you don't want to spend the Phoenix kind of money. So the last thing I need to test out is going to be like the GPS, and then kind of the kind of more stable heart rate, like elliptical, running, maybe even biking, just to kind of see how the steady state cardio or steady state heart rate will compare to the Phoenix, because weightlifting is a tough one to test for any wrist-based device. But that's it for this video. I guess I can kind of show you what the always on display looks like. Let's see if it goes off. So I have it set to always on display, and then each watch has a different way of doing it. I guess this one doesn't have it at all, but the other watch face I was using had it. Let me just go back to the other one. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that these are AMOLED screens, right? So you want a darker background. It's going to help preserve battery. So I try to find one that had minimal background colors. Well, I'm not sure why the always on isn't working all of a sudden, but basically the always on display just had the time kind of little dimmed out. So that way the time was always there, but it just got rid of all. Oh, there we go. So that's the always on display, which honestly I can't imagine this draws too much battery. So, but yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. I'm gonna try to get on my bike this weekend and do a bike ride and test out the GPS, just to see how it does, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So thanks for tuning in.